You've got this lunatic mayor in New York thinking you may get arrested if you go to New York, which will never happen.
First of all, I'm going to New York.
Yeah.
Look, I'm definitely going there. I'm going to speak the truth in front of this. You know, there's just hate spewing elected official who's pitting one group of New Yorkers against the others. He's turning them against New York Jews. I mean, what are we in the 1930s? What is this? You know, so much hate, so many lies.
Speaking of hate, despite the fact that so many Americans in general hate Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and do not welcome him into our country, certainly that's the case in New York City, he wants to come visit New York anyway, just to troll Mamdani, just to do what Netanyahu does best, make people loathe him more. But more and more Americans are in fact turning on the genocidal war criminal, and he may not be untouchable for long. Just keep that in mind. Now, in the past, New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani has threatened to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu if he stepped foot in the Big Apple, since, you know, there's a ICC, International Criminal Court warrant out for his arrest because he's committed crimes against humanity, he's a war criminal, and he's just an overall bad guy. Now, when it was announced that Benjamin Netanyahu would be attending the UN General Assembly in September, Mamdani wanted to follow through with that promise. But as many of you probably already know, he does not have the legal authority to do that. And in fact, we here in the United States, our government at least, not the people, do not respect the ICC and do not feel the ICC has any jurisdiction whatsoever over the United States. But Mamdani is really putting out a moral message there. And in fact, he's still calling for Netanyahu's arrest. Take a look at this.
Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, the architect of a horrific genocide against the Palestinian people. He is responsible for the killing of more than 73,000 people, for the maiming of tens of thousands of children as those who survive undergo amputation without anesthesia, for the targeting of neonatal hospitals and maternity care centers, denying newborns even the chance to live, for the countless people he starved as he blocked food and humanitarian aid from reaching them, for the gunning down of hundreds of aid workers and journalists. As I've said, I agree with the ICC that Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested and tried for his crimes, as I do for anyone else charged by the ICC. My administration has reviewed every avenue available under applicable law to determine whether New York City could execute the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant if Benjamin Netanyahu came here. It is clear that we do not have the independent legal authority to enforce this warrant. The federal government, however, does, and I call on them to join the ICC and execute this warrant. And I want to be equally clear. Benjamin Netanyahu is not welcome in New York City, nor is any other war criminal at large. While we cannot end the genocide on our own, we can decide whether our silence will become another weapon, and we can examine every tool we have to defend the humanity and dignity of all people.
So not only did I appreciate the fact that we have at least some elected politicians in this country who have a moral leg to stand on, there's also the cherry on top where you have all these Israel firsters like whining and crying about it. So let's just kind of revel in the chorus of whining morons before we move on with this story.
Do you know your brain rot index? No, of course you don't. I didn't either because I didn't know what it was, but turns out you might want to, especially after hearing this. Did you know that the average American checks their phone over 200 times a day? That's about 5 hours of screen time a day on just your phone. Unfortunately, that means your brain is rotting. A little bit, but have no fear. I switched over to Noble Mobile, downloaded their Noble Mobile Life app, and was able to track my own brain rot index. It's 0. No, I'm just kidding. My number was not great, but now that I'm on Noble Mobile, getting way better. It tracks how much you use your phone, how often you pick it up, and even shows you how to save money on your phone bill by using it less. New members can even earn up to $100 cash back for keeping their brain rot index under 100, which means you are very unrotten. Okay, so you unlock all that when you join. So download the Noble Mobile Life app today, track your own brain rot index, and learn how you can save money and spend more time doing things that actually bring you joy instead of doom scrolling on social media. Check it out by heading to tyt.com/switch or by downloading the Noble Mobile app. By the way, don't tell Andrew, but if you're on Wi-Fi, you also don't use your data, so you're going to get money back anyway. TYT.com/switch.
Whether it's his calls for the arrest of Netanyahu or urging New Yorkers to come out and protest Netanyahu, it's the same thing. It just shows how juvenile, immature, and really the lack of experience that this mayor has.
Jim, the declaration of the mayor is baseless. We all know it. It's a stunt. He wants to distract the attention from his failures running the city, and he picks on the prime minister. He knows the law. Like all of us. And if you want to arrest someone, I think we should arrest Mayor Mamdani.
The arrest warrant that he wants enforced is from a fake court that the United States doesn't even recognize and is not a part of. He's literally trying to destroy the policy of the United States.
We have a great police commissioner, Jewish. She's certainly not going to arrest Netanyahu. So there's no possibility of this. It's just stupid theatrics.
Stupid theatrics. You're right, by the way. He may, because of his threats, he may already be guilty.
I'd love to have been in the room when someone explained you're not president of the United States. It's like watching some kid play dress up in the oversized clothing of his parents. I mean, he's the mayor of a city, and he doesn't have the authority to go around arresting international figures, let alone heads of state.
Look at their glee over the fact that Mamdani doesn't have the legal authority to arrest a literal war criminal who committed genocide, continues to commit genocide, and keeps bombing countries in the region to steal land, expand Israel's territory. Like they are so happy to be on the record filleting a disgusting war criminal. It's hilarious to me. They're so disgusting. But anyway, then you have the Democrats who are mixed on this whole notion of arresting Netanyahu. A lot of them are corrupt. A lot of them take AIPAC money. So they're going to go ahead and regurgitate pro-Israel talking points. Let's just take a quick look at that.
Congresswoman, can you tell us what you think about Mamdani's plan to explore whether he can arrest Netanyahu in New York? Do you think that's a good idea? Think about that.
Arrest him. He's a war criminal.
Does he even have the authority to explore the arrest of Netanyahu?
I don't know if it applies to citizens' arrest. If he needs help, tell him to call me.
What do you think of Mayor Mamdani exploring ways to arrest Netanyahu? Do you think that's a good idea?
I didn't see that. I don't know anything that he said, so I'll check it out.
Can you tell us what you think of Mamdani and what he's saying about possibly arresting Netanyahu? Do you have an opinion on that? Do you think he should be exploring that?
He can't do it. It would violate the UN. Is a treaty.
I think that whether or not he has the authority about it, I don't really have an opinion on what Mamdani is saying or what he's doing. But I do think that Netanyahu is a war criminal.
My view on Netanyahu is the same as my view on Putin. If you have a warrant for your arrest by the ICC and you're coming here, not to the UN, because the UN has its own rules, but you're coming to the United States, then you should be arrested.
Okay, so with the Democrats, as you saw, the answers were very mixed. But what I really want to emphasize here is that there is this ongoing disconnect between the American people and our representation in government. Like the whole point of liberal democracy is you're supposed to live under a governmental system that is responsive to the people who elect their representatives, who elect their politicians. But increasingly, it's become very obvious to most people who are paying attention that things haven't really worked out that way. Now, why do I say that? Because even though for the most part, Congress loves to pleasure Israel, loves to pleasure their war criminals, loves to fund them, arm them, say complimentary things about them, give them dual citizenship. How do the people feel about the notion of arresting Benjamin Netanyahu? Well, lucky for you, there's a new Economist YouGov poll. It was published yesterday, and the results were fascinating. 49% of respondents said Netanyahu should be arrested upon arriving in the United States. The number is still too low. 49% is too low. Do better, America. Compared with 27% who said he should not. The partisan divide was clear. 68% of Democratic voters supported his arrest compared to just 24% of Republicans, which is honestly a big bummer. But hopefully that number continues to grow. And when you get into the meat of the numbers, and no, to the American politicians, I'm not talking about Netanyahu's meat. I'm talking, I know you love that, right? I'm talking about, the poll results. It's even more shocking. So the results are even more stunning when it comes to younger Americans, kind of giving you a little sneak peek in the future of this country. So people between 18 and 29 years old, you'll find that 58% are in favor of arresting Netanyahu, 17% against. And among Kamala Harris voters, 74% in favor of arresting him, 10% against. So Democratic voters in this case making me real happy. Additionally, the poll also found that 47% of respondents said they believe Netanyahu was guilty of war crimes in Gaza, compared with 24% who said he was not. The same partisan pattern emerged. 71% of Democrats held this view, compared with just 20% of Republicans. And the poll also found that 47% of Americans believe Netanyahu's actions had damaged relations between the United States and Israel. That view was shared by 61% of Democrats and 30% of Republicans. Like, to our Republican friends, guys, like, you look at the behavior of Netanyahu and you think, nailed it? He's really nailing it? Okay. And look, this is obviously more prevalent among older Republican voters. But there's a real issue right now for Israel, because young people in America, both on the left and the right, not only loathe Netanyahu, they loathe the US alliance with Israel. And I don't think that you can repair that. I mean, we've seen too much. We've seen too much, including members of our own military dying for Israel's wars. So, it's not going to work out so well for Israel once the older generation of politicians are gone, which I can't wait for. So look, these aren't the largest numbers. Honestly, I wish they were higher. But they do demonstrate the growing shift Americans are experiencing now toward, not wanting to be aligned with Israel, not liking the leadership of Israel and their, government. And let's specifically look at the American Jewish communities, because I'm always curious to know what our Jewish brothers and sisters here in the United States think about what's going on, right? And there is a divide among those who see themselves as religiously Jewish, and then you have, secular Jewish people in America as well. And so according to an AP NORC poll, this was done earlier this month, among Jews with a religious affiliation, views on Israel's recent military actions are far from uniform or, luckily, uncritical. Only about half say Israel's ongoing military operations in Gaza are justified. Let me read that part again. Only about half, we're talking about deeply religious Jews in America, only about half say that Israel's ongoing military operations in Gaza are justified. About 1/4 believe Israel has committed genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. That's amazing. That is amazing. Now, if you're wondering, how do these numbers break down between deeply religious and secular? Well, 7 in 10 Jewish adults identified as Jewish by religion, meaning that they're practicing, Judaism. The other 3 in 10 say that they're either atheist or agnostic, but still identify as Jewish, ethnically Jewish. But according to the survey, they are still more supportive of Israel's actions than secular American Jews. About 4 in 10 religiously unaffiliated Jews say Israel has committed genocide against Palestinians, and only about 2 in 10 see Israel's current operations in Gaza as justified. The vast majority, 74%, say they are not to or not at all emotionally attached to Israel, a sharp contrast from other Jewish adults. So, public opinion in America is definitely shifting, and you're not just seeing it among non-Jews, you're also seeing it among those who identify as Jewish, and that's good news. And look, at the end of the day, I see Jewish Americans as fellow Americans, okay? My ire is directed toward the Israeli government and, those in the Israeli population who think that genocide is okay when they do it. I think that they should really rethink the way that they present themselves to the international community, because people don't want to support you when you brazenly defend the slaughter of innocents. And that's what they do every day. So, not good.